Hey there, welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to be looking at why it sucks to be born as a flying fish. So if you like this video, make sure to subscribe. Now, flying fish have been around for over 50 million years. They evolved in the Eocene epoch of the Cenozoic era. Their ancestors were normal fish that developed wings to escape predators. But then they realized they could use those wings to fly through the air and never looked back. Most flying fish live in tropical or subtropical waters of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, with some species found even as far north as Massachusetts and as far south as South Africa. Flying fish are actually part of the moonfish family, which includes other bizarre fish like the mulumula and the OPA. There are over 60 species of flying fish that can range in size from just under a foot long to nearly 4 feet. The largest species is the Atlantic flying fish, which can grow up to 75 centimeters long and weigh around 22 kilograms. There are two main reasons why flying fish are so successful. First off, their wings allow them to move through the water faster than most other fish, sometimes reaching speeds of up to 68 kilometers per hour. This allows them to easily outmaneuver potential predators or catch their prey before it can escape. But perhaps their greatest asset is their ability to leave the water and fly through the air. When threatened, most flying fish can leap up to 30 meters into the air and glide up to 180 meters before returning to the water. These aerial maneuvers enable them to avoid predators or seek more favorable feeding grounds. One of the coolest things about flying fish is their ability to change the shape of their bodies depending on whether they re in the water or in the air. In the water, their bodies are flat from side to side, which helps them swim efficiently. In the air, however, their bodies are curved from top to bottom, which makes them more aerodynamic. Flying fish also have special fins that help them steer while they're flying, which gives them lots of surface area to control their movement. Finally, flying fish have special scales that overlap each other like tiles on a roof. This helps reduce drag and makes them even more streamlined when they're flying through the air. You'd think that being able to fly would make a fish pretty safe from predators, but this isn't the case. While it does certainly help, there are many animals that are capable of flying, and they make up for their lack of hard armor by using their speed and agility to evade predators. Flying fish aren't immune to this either. Flying fish eggs and young are especially vulnerable to predators, so they tend to hide in groups for protection. And despite their impressive jumping and gliding abilities, adult flying fish are still susceptible to attacks from birds, turtles, dolphins, sharks, and even other flying fish. Flying fish are cannibalistic when it comes to mating. Males will often compete for the right to mate with a female. And when one male is successful, he will actually bite the female's belly until she releases her eggs. Then he will eat the eggs immediately. As you might imagine, not much escapes the notice of those hungry seabirds. And in some cases, the birds will actually wait for a flying fish to be bitten by a shark and then grab it after it takes its big jump out of the water. One of the main reasons why flying fish are such easy targets is because they need to come to the surface to get oxygen. Unlike most fish, they don't have gills that allow them to breathe underwater. Instead, flying fish have lungs that force them to gulp air at the surface. This means that they spend a lot of time in the upper layer of the ocean, where they're easy prey for birds and turtles. Flying fish can use the surface to their advantage. Though when it comes to hunting, some species of flying fish are actually quite vicious and will attack other fish near the surface. For example, the white-winged flying fish has sharp teeth and will feed on plankton and small fish. It can also defend itself against predators by using its wings to slash and jab at their eyes. The exoskeleton of the flying fish is very bony and reinforced with layers of connective tissue. It's strong enough to protect the fish from most attacks, but it also makes the fish rather heavy. Despite their wings, flying fish aren't particularly great at flying, so they expend a lot of energy just getting airborne. If you consider the fact that they can only hold their breath for a few minutes and need to surface regularly for oxygen, You can see how these fish are essentially trapped in a cycle of expending precious energy just to survive. Many flying fish species are harvested for food and used in traditional medicine in China and Japan. They're often dried and salted before being eaten. And in some cultures, flying fish are considered a delicacy. But perhaps the most insidious danger to flying fish is the warming of our oceans. As the climate changes, the water temperature rises, which means that flying fish have to work harder to find food and mates. This is already starting to have an impact on some species, like the red flying fish, which has seen its numbers decline by 95% in the last 3 decades. With more and more people living along coastlines and fishing for food and sport, flying fish are under more pressure than ever before. In the future, they may become extinct, and with them, another piece of our natural heritage will be lost. Now, you may be thinking that you've got it pretty good compared to a flying fish. Well, maybe, but then again, maybe not. Flying fish do get to see amazing sights. Just imagine seeing a pod of dolphins playing in the waves or a giant whale breaching the surface. Flying fish also get to travel all over the world. No matter where you go, there's bound to be an ocean full of flying fish. And who knows what other exotic creatures you might encounter. Of course, not all flying fish end up as delicious meals for seabirds, and some get to live long, happy lives. Even if you're caught by a shark, at least you won't feel pain. Sharks don't have any receptors for pain, so they won't be able to detect it, even if you scream bloody murder. That said, there are plenty of flying fish that get eaten alive by torturous means, like being ripped apart by eagle rays, having their insides devoured by hagfish, or being slowly suffocated by jellyfish. But perhaps the worst thing about being a flying fish is that they're constantly surrounded by death. Flying fish tend to swim in huge schools, and when one fish gets eaten, several others are taken down with it. Imagine the trauma of watching your friends and family get torn apart by a hungry predator. That would be pretty horrible, but it happens every day to countless flying fish. Being a flying fish is pretty cool in theory. I mean, who wouldn't want to be able to fly? But in practice, it's not all that glamorous. Flying fish are hunted by eagles, tortured by hagfish, and die horribly slow deaths every day. Not exactly a life worth living, if you ask me. But what do you think? Would you rather be a flying fish or a normal fish? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, check out this other video I did about why it sucks to be a bird poop. I'll see you next time.